What's happening, everyone? My name's Vito, and it is a momentous occasion for all of us Guardians because the biggest update that Destiny has ever seen, Update 2.0, is now live and running. So I thought I would go over my initial thoughts on the state of the Crucible after playing more or less non-stop for the past 2 days. So I can give you a couple pointers and some weapon recommendations so you're not running around like a chicken with its head cut off. A quick disclaimer right off the bat: to give a full in-depth opinion on how things are going, I'm definitely going to need a couple weeks, if not months, to assess the new meta and to see if it's actually truly better or not. But from my experience so far, it's been nothing but positive. Can't really complain. I will say off the cuff, pulse rifles are now the new top tier weapons. I know that doesn't come as a shock or surprise to a lot of you, since most of us already predicted that, since they were already up there on the hierarchy list pre 2.0. But with the new update, the Messenger received a slight buff to its fire rate, the All Fate received a slight buff to its range and stability, and then the Red Death as well, the Red Death. I don't really think I need to go too much further into that. So if you own one of these pulse rifles, which you should, since the appropriate vendors do sell these weapons, you can have a lot of fun killing the brand new Baby Buffalo in the Crucible. But before I get deeper into this video, I want to reiterate how much I do love the current PvP meta in 2.0. Each weapon archetype now feels like it has its own strengths and its own weaknesses on certain maps and in certain situations. And for the most part, nothing seems imba at this point in time. So the age-old question that everybody has been asking, has Thorn in the Last Word been dealt with? And the answer is yes. Oh yes. Thorn in the Last Word have been nerfed almost to the point where they are non-existent in PvP, which is great. Over the past couple days, in an estimated 40 to 50 games so far, I've seen maybe 7 Thorn users and 5 Last Word users. But the damage over time is borderline useless in PvP now, and the dot fades so quickly, and unless you're in melee distance, the Last Word is completely useless, besides the occasional situation where you might get lucky and land a headshot on a one-shot enemy from a distance. Nonetheless, the whole hand cannon archetype has essentially met its demise in PvP. You probably just won't see them much anymore. I don't know what else to say. A part of 2.0 that I am super excited about is the return of the auto rifles. Although I own a perfect roll All Fate and a Red Death, I personally prefer using auto rifles in PvP now because it caters to my up-close and personal playstyle. Now, it's not like vanilla Destiny where auto rifles are just the bee's knees, but the low rate of fire, high impact auto rifles, like our beloved Ceros regimes and our pest control matrices, and a couple other assault rifles whose names I'm drawing a complete blank on, they just don't really cut it like we thought they would, unfortunately. Now, for example, the Ceros regime with the 2.0 updates through the exotic blueprint, they might be different, but I'm not 100% sure. You know, not level 40, and TTK isn't even out yet, so we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, I guess. Now, the auto rifles that do succeed in Crucible are the Vindicator 11s, the Hard Lights, the Up for Anythings, the Dr. Nopes, anything that has a high rate of fire and a low to medium impact. Pretty much, we've been throwing this term around. It's been thrown around a lot, actually. We're calling it the bullet hoses, the guns that go through a lot of bullets or that have high magazines. Now, will they match up to pulse rifles at a distance? No, absolutely not. The damage drop-off is very noticeable, and so you'll have to get up close and personal often to consistently get kills with assault rifles now. A quick side note that I won't go too crazy on is that scout rifles still really aren't that great. To be completely honest, I wouldn't recommend using any scout rifle other than the Mida Multitool, Mida Multitool, however you want to pronounce it, if you have it, or if you have it too, the Badger CCL. With the new TTK maps, there aren't that many sight lines that you can hit with a scout rifle that a pulse rifle can't. Just so you know. Anyway, let's talk about shotguns. So, from what I knew and from what I read, shotguns are supposed to be getting a slight nerf. Now, I will say that I've noticed a little bit that personally I've been getting a couple more hit markers rather than one-shot kills. But I'm still getting a lot of one-shot kills from the chest up. I mean, I knew shotguns were still going to be the top dog, but I thought I would see a little bit more variety. as to what secondaries I would see in the new Crucible. And like I've said earlier, I've noticed, and many other people have noticed, that you can still shoot someone at a long range with Shot Package and a Fellwinter's Lie, a Matador, or a Party Crasher, and still get a one-shot kill if it hits the upper body or the head. It's a little disappointing, but I'm sure it'll be addressed later on at some point. It took us 6 months to get Thorn and Last Word nerfed, so I mean, they gotta address it sooner or later, right? So let's talk about the maps. I like most of the maps, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, but I unfortunately, until I put hundreds of matches into TTK, I can't really give a solid opinion because no one knows how to play the new maps yet. It's no different when you would buy a Call of Duty map pack or a Halo map pack and have to play a completely different playstyle to get a feel for how the map can be played and how it should be played and how it caters to your playstyle. But personally, I'm having a hard time adjusting to the new maps, and I know it sounds silly because it's only been day 2, maybe even day 3 by the time you watch this video, but I don't know which maps require me to charge in guns blazing and which maps require me to take a chill pill and wait for the enemy team to come to me. It's something that will only happen with time and come with time, but I just hope that year 1 maps are rotated in with the new maps a little bit more frequently until I can completely adjust. But overall, I can't complain. Something new to 2.0 is the introduction of the Rift playlist, and I've got a mixed bag of opinions on this game type. In theory, it should be a lot like Neutral Bomb in Halo, or maybe even a better example would be Sabotage in Call of Duty with the whole reset factor, I suppose. And I'm not gonna lie, when the games were good, they were really good. Something cool was the crew I was with actually hit the Mercy rule, which actually ended the game early. Like Shax was like, "I have had enough of this," and then he just ended the game. And it was kind of cool. And for us, we were just like, all right, you know, it's over, on to the next one, I suppose. But it's also good for the people who were losing a lot, so that they don't have to keep dragging out matches, and they can just hop on to the next game and either be really salty or learn from their previous game, you know what I mean? Most of the negatives of the game type, though, is with the Rift collection process. So when you collect the Rift, you hold X over the big ball of light in front of you. It gives your team a free 300 points. So it pretty much becomes a game of not even scoring, but a game of how many people can control the Rift and consistently collect it. Which wasn't what the playlist was designed for. I don't know if it's as simple as removing the Rift collection reward or what, but it's a little bit of an exploit. It's not a huge one, but it kind of defeats the purpose of the playlist. But overall, it's a fun game type. My final overall thoughts of 2.0 so far have been positive. I'm enjoying PvP again. I really cannot reiterate that enough. The state of the Crucible is in a much better place so far. I find myself grinding lobby after lobby again, where I just couldn't, you know, I would be in a lobby for 1 or 2 games and I have to bail out because I had bad teammates or something like that. But no, I'm consistently going lobby to lobby to lobby again, and it's just fun times to go around. There are only a couple of negative things that I can think of. Like, it's disheartening that shotguns are still as prevalent as all get out, and that you can't just ride solo and play consistent scoring matches rather than having a crew with you. But that's the state of the game, I guess. Anyway, moral of the story is use your Messenger, use your All Fate, use your Hard Light, use your Vindicator, and you will succeed. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Leave a like and subscribing. It helps me a lot, and it helps me out tremendously with viewer engagement and all that fun stuff. But anyway, as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.